Today on the Comic Book Show, the X-Men cartoon, Evan Dorkin and Harlan Ellison.
Welcome to the Comic Book Show, the only TV show about comics. Your central authority for cartoons, comic books, and collectibles, and other stuff that doesn't begin with C. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Tony.
And I'm Nikki.
And this is show number 9.
Let's take a look at today's Super Toon. The Super Toon is a cartoon either about superheroes or heroic exploits. Today's Super Toon is X-Men.
Storm, mistress of the elements, commands you to release that child.
Lighten up on the seat, sugar. Hey, lady, keep talking to him some more.
Unidentified mutants. Ignore.
X-Men, the cartoon. Well, I enjoy it better than I like the X-Men comic book, but that's not saying a lot because, boy, the X-Men comic book is just very confusing. I like the X-Men cartoon because there's not as many characters in it. Unfortunately, I think it's just a washed-down version of what Chris Claremont used to do.
Quality of animation, going according to that, I think X-Men's pretty bad. But the stories I really enjoy. I think it's neat how they kind of take like two different stories from the books and kind of splice them together like a really bizarre yet interesting what-if type of aspect. So I would say an A for stories, but definitely a C- for animation, especially when comparing it to something like Cadillacs and Dinosaurs or Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, animation's not that good. I think it's about on par. It's about as good as you're going to get, or at least as good as you'd want in an American cartoon. And of course they have lots of people with lots of weapons, and they never seem to kill anybody, which also bothers me too. We interviewed Chris Claremont on the second show, and here's what he had to say about it.
I watched 5 seconds, I think, of the second pilot, the Night of the Sentinels thing, and Rogue said a line to the effect of, "Cyclops, you look as nervous as a cat, long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs." And I thought, I'm out of here.
Well, let's rate today's Super Toon, the X-Men, on the Mighty Meter. The Mighty Meter rates cartoons and stuff from 1 to 5, 5 being mighty good and 1 being mighty stinky. I'm going to give X-Men, I give it a 3.
I give it a 4.5 only because my only problem with it is the quality of the animation.
4.5, that's way too high.
The stories are good enough to get 4.5.
Taking a look at This Week in Comics, I'm definitely going to recommend Hawkman number 5. Hawkman, the series, has been really good. It just started up again. Hawk World was the old title, and they just wanted to concentrate on Hawkman and Hawkwoman. I know it sounds stupid, Hawkman, Hawkwoman, I mean, they're stupid names, but John Ostrander's been doing the work on it, and it's just been fab.
I do like Hawkman. I mean, I still prefer the original character with the big feathery wings, but the new book is very good. I enjoyed Hawkworld. I like Hawkman. You should also check out over DC Batman Shadow of the Bat. This is a really good Batman book. 2 of their latest stories, God of Fear and The Tallyman, were 2 of my favorites, and they just do a really good job, great art, and a good job of really like hard-edged, deep adventures of the Dark Knight.
Gotta love Batman. I especially love the Shadow of the Bat's covers. They've been really nice. Nice painted, beautiful covers. Also, you want to check out Hellblazer. Hellblazer number 73 is out this week, and Hellblazer is just plain good. It's been good from issue 1, good ever since they introduced the character John Constantine. He's sort of a wizard slash English guy slash Sam Spade detective. It's hard to describe. You really have to read it, and it's really good. You should.
I'm a Hellblazer fan myself. I think it's definitely one of the better DC Vertigo titles, so they're all good if you really think about it, short of Animal Man. But you should also read X-Force. You know, I'm a big fan of the Marvel Mutant books, and X-Force is currently doing some really good storylines that are evolving around the personal lives. Believe it or not, they do have personal lives, including one story that deals with teen alcoholism. It's really a different change of pace for spandex-clad superheroes.
I'm not that into X-Force. I still can't get into the Marvel Mutants. There's just too many of them, and they tend to do these stories about so-called characters very ham-handed, unless they have a good writer like Peter David on the project, and he's not writing that anymore. In case you missed it this week, I'm going to recommend Jonah Hex, Two Gun Mojo. It was a 5-part limited series done by Tim Truman, which was just fab. And also Bone Number 10 came out, finally.
In case you missed it, you should really check out the first in a series of Batman Animate novels based on Batman the Animate series. This one, Shadows of the Past, was really great. It took a Batman animated episode and added all kinds of extra stuff in it. In this particular novel, it's the episode Appointment in Crime Alley, featuring a whole bunch of extra stuff with the boy wonder Robin himself. During Comic Fest 93, Tony gets a chance to interview Evan Dorkin of Milk and Cheese and Predator Big Game fame. Here's what Evan had to say.
All right, I'm here in Artist Alley with Evan Dorkin, the man behind Milk and Cheese and a lot of cool comics. Evan, what are, for some of the fans that maybe aren't familiar with your work, what are some of the books you've worked?
I do some small press books like Milk and Cheese, Pirate Corps, Dork, contribute to a lot of anthologies, and for the mainstream comic stuff, I'm writing a Predator miniseries right now. I drew one. I did Fight Man for Marvel, the Bill and Ted's book for a year. I'm doing something for DC for the Justice League Annual in a few months. And I do a lot of non-comics work, like I did a full page for Esquire. I'm doing a book for Simon & Schuster and reviewing an opera for Pulse magazine, and did a lot of doing some music work and things like that. And I perform at bar mitzvahs and I rake leaves.
What do you think of this Home Shopping Network QVC stuff?
It's garbage. It's on one hand, a lot of people are going to look at that and say, "Oh, look, comics are becoming more mainstream and their audience is growing." But it's a used car lot. It's a flea market. It's ripping off people on comics that aren't worth anything. When there's a comic that's supposed to be really worth something that's been printed in the last 2 years, generally there's thousands of extra copies floating around, held in basements, held in shops. People are all buying 3 or 5 of them, so how are they supposed to be worth anything? I think if you buy anything off that thing, you're a sucker. You deserve to be ripped off. If you're buying it to sell it back to somebody in 5 years, they've got it already. Why would you buy a comic? Why would you buy anything that you don't want? Because the main problem with comics is that as a medium, it's judged as a medium. You might not like westerns, but you'll still go to the movies. You might not like romances, but you'll still read books. Not many left, but you'll read a book. But when you say, "I've got a comic," people go, "I don't like comics." I don't read comics. They still make comics. Comics are for kids. And then when you open up a comic, you go, "Well, yeah, they really are made for kids." And DC and Marvel wants to talk about how comics are for adults, and you open it up, and the ads are all for video games, dit cream, rip-off schemes to buy bicycles to sell grit, sea monkeys, come on.
Well, what about some of the Vertigo titles?
Vertigo titles, I think, are almost like... It's nice that more women are reading the Vertigo titles. It's almost like Vertigo titles are for socially backwards women, whereas superheroes are for socially backwards men. These new writers and artists are trying to do these graphic novels that are like college theses on Batman and why Batman is dark and gritty. And here's a guy running around with a 12-year-old. And they explain away everything. They go, well, Batman wears the corporate logo, not because we need to protect this corporate logo every issue to sell underwear. DC Comics doesn't need the bat signal. He wears it in case villains shoot at his chest. It's got a metal plate behind it. All right, well then why does he have a 12-year-old in a garish costume and shorts behind him? Why do his parents, who are millionaires, walk him through a ghetto after a movie and get shot down? I mean, that'd be like Donald Trump and Marlon Maples going to a movie and then walking through the East Village saying, and nobody would recognize them and kill them for their money. The general public is still not buying comics. They're only checking out, like, the Superman dying comic. They get it. They put it somewhere. I really don't feel they came back to read the next few. People in comics have to start pushing their comics onto people and not be embarrassed, but I'll tell you the truth. There's a lot of comics I wouldn't show to my family and friends because I'm embarrassed by them. I'm embarrassed by pictures of Catwoman with her shirt ripped off and her breasts hanging out because there's no reason to keep publicizing the fact that this industry is mostly male and dateless. It's a real small industry, and people really have to rally together and present the best face this industry has in both mainstream comics and underground and alternative comics, and try to get people who will not look at comics because they think they're illiterate and stupid and junky to come in and look at them. I mean, there's a comic printed for everyone. I mean, it might sound like I'm really down on comics, but there's a comic printed for everyone in this country.
The Comic Book Show is sponsored in part by Cosmic Comics on the White Horse Pike in Berlin, New Jersey. For a wide selection of trading cards, new and back issues, it's Cosmic Comics. Mention this ad and receive a free X-Men number 300 while supplies last. Order Flatline Comics' next hot titles today. Flatbush Native, Invictus, and their newest title, Flatline Comics Presents. Get their number one issues before they're gone. Write Flatline Comics, P.O. Box 26264, Washington, D.C. 20001, or call 202-973-2131. Flatline Comics.
This Christmas, shop at Golden Hobbies on Ariel Road in Pine Hill. Register for arts and crafts classes and learn how to make these decorative gifts. Check out our great savings on Christmas gifts, models, hobby accessories, rockets, and radio-controlled cars. Indoor racing begins this December. Mention this ad and register to win a radio-controlled car worth over $200. Call now. That's Golden Hobbies next to CB Cleaners in Pine Hill.
DC. Incredible. Action. Astonishing. Adventure. The coolest heroes. The hottest heroines. And the most outrageous villains.
Too tough for TV.
In the universe.
These ain't your daddy's comic books, fanboy.
The DC Comics.
Available at Marvel Comics in Princeton and New Brunswick.
This week in industry news, Beavis and Butthead, the two bad boy metalheads, will be getting ready to see comic book fame. Marvel Comics is going to be putting out Beavis and Butthead the comic in January, despite the controversial fact that the Comics Authority Code refuses to approve the book. In regards to the Beavis and Butthead cartoon on MTV, it looks like cancellation is the word. Major rumors are flying around that MTV has not ordered any second season episodes from Beavis and Butthead creator Mike Judge. In December, the 12-month Family of Woodstock Fantasy Benefit Calendar will be hitting the shelves of your local comic book stores. This project, which is headed by Jim Starlin of Breed and Infinity Gauntlet fame, will feature tons of great artwork from tons of famous artists. Some of the people on the roster include John Byrne, Charles Vess, Bernie Wrightson, Mark Silvestri, Mike Kaluta, and Barry Windsor-Smith, among many others. The proceeds from this project will go to the New York State charity, which is responsible for supplying shelter and clothing for those who are less fortunate than others. The Zero Hour is coming to the DC Universe. This is the big miniseries that will be happening mid-next year. It will rock the total foundation of the DC Universe as we know it. Current events happening in current issues of Valor are already going to be affecting the Legion of Superheroes, and DC's Teen Titans will be affected profoundly as well.
And checking the toy news just in time for Christmas, Toy Biz has a new limited edition X-Man team, which includes Wolverine, Iceman, and Cyclops. Mattel has released the Demolition Man figures based after the movie, and the characters played by Sly Stallone and Wesley Snipes. Playmates just added 22 new Star Trek figures for its Christmas line, and Hasbro has the Nightmare Before Christmas action figures, so check out them. In their G.I. Joe division, the Street Fighter II figures based after the video game are out. Blanca, the character Blanca, is the rarest one to find. And finally, if you don't like McDonald's, well, go eat there anyway and grab a Happy Meal because you get Batman animated figures with them. The figures include Batman, Robin, and several major villains.
Tony was given the honor of interviewing Harlan Ellison. Great interview. Here's the report.
Getting back to that Hulk issue, what issue was that they ripped off your story? Or don't you want to say?
God, I don't know. I don't remember. It was a story by Bill Mantlo, and it was based on it
wasn't a recent issue then.
No, it wasn't a recent. It was about 10 years ago. But shot for shot, panel for panel, it was the adaptation of my Outer Limits segment at Soldier. Yeah. And in fact, when they sent me, somebody ratted them out. You see, somebody dropped the dime on them, and they sent me the the pages before they were going to be run, and the title thing was Soldier. But then somebody caught it and said, God, geez, if you're going to rip him off, don't even use the same name. So they changed it to Trooper or something like that, because it fit the same space. But it was exactly the same. And it wasn't out on the stands 2 days before fans were sending it to me saying, look at this. So I called Mike Hobson at Marvel, and I said, do I sue you into oblivion, or do we take care of this? And he said, well, let me look at it. And he went down the hall, and he asked Denny O'Neil, he said, take a look at this. Is this Harlan Ellison Soldier? And Denny took one look, and he went, And Shooter knew all about it. Shooter, because they had the tape, they had the Outer Limits tape in the office, they were running it. So Shooter knew about it, and he okayed it, and they did it, and they put it in. So Hobson, who's a very decent man, a very good guy, said, okay, what do you want? And I said, well, I want X amount of dollars. And he said, fine, that's okay, we'll take care of that. And I said, and I want everything you publish in perpetuity. You just send it to me, that's it. And so, since then, I get everything from Marvel.
What comic books would you put apart from all the others that would be the best in America literature?
Well, if we get past all of the, if we exclude all of the great strips, Prince Valiant and Crazy Cat and Joe Palooka and Little Orphan Annie and all that kind of stuff, which is actually newspaper comics, I think the original Captain Marvel, the C.C. Beck Captain Marvel, is classic stuff. I think all of George Carlson's comics, Jingle Jangle comics, which you don't know anything about because you've never seen one. Am I right?
Right.
Folks, here's the host of this show, and he doesn't even know George Carlson's work. See what I was talking about? Racial memory? For him, nostalgia is what he had for breakfast. George Carlson was this great American artist.
Wait, back up, Harlan.
Thank you.
All right, I've taken it up. There's not enough time in a lifetime to read every comic book that has ever been published. But I've read some good stuff. What about James O'Barr the Crow? Did you read that? You like that?
No, not particularly.
Oh, I liked it. I thought it was good.
Well, that's good. You probably like Chafed Ties, too.
No. Isn't there anything that's coming out now that's
You already mentioned things.
Concrete? You mentioned Concrete. I like Concrete.
Neil Gaiman's Sandman is absolutely brilliant.
We interviewed Neil on the first show.
Why do you feel that you must defend yourself?
I feel so threatened because you're insulting me.
I'm insulting you?
Well,
no.
You're calling me stupid. You call it everybody.
I ask you, did I call him actually stupid? I didn't actually say stupid. I said that for you, nostalgia is what you had for breakfast.
But it's not. I didn't even have breakfast.
That was very good. That was a lot like humor.
Something close.
Except dull.
It's sort of like your fashion statement here.
My vest? So you don't like this? Jesus, wearing a $200 leather. Animals died to give me this vest.
Very politically incorrect.
You don't like this? I'm politically, heaven forfend, I should.
I'm not the PC police. I'm just goofing around. No, I'm just trying to have some fun here, Harlan.
Family, Tony.
That's okay. They'll probably see it anyway. Before we go, Harlan, I wanted to
Wait, we're done with each other?
Well, unless you got more to say, but I wanted to ask you if you have any new books coming out. Well, we don't have enough tape for everything you have to say, but...
Yes, I have a new book coming out, which is called Mephisto in Onyx. And it ran almost all of it, all but about 500 words, but it ran in the October issue of Omni. And it's sort of Alfred Bester's The Demolished Man. No. Okay. If he were not busy reading The Crow, he would have possibly read this great novel called The Demolished Man by Alfred Bester, which is about a society full of telepaths. And in a society where everybody can read everybody else's mind, how do you commit a murder and get away with it? That's the basic idea of The Demolished Man. It's a great book. Anyhow, this is The Demolished Man, as if it were written by Jim Thompson, whose name, of course, you know. No. Jim Thompson was this terrific noir kind of mystery writer who wrote paperback books in the 40s and 50s, got paid nothing, or as we say in Yiddish, bubkis for it, and he's now been discovered, and you can find Jim Thompson's books now in all bookstores, and they're wonderful, wonderful stuff. They made a lot of movies out of them, Mephisto and Onyx, and that book will be out in November. Are you on the air with us before November?
We should, yeah.
Yeah, November 20th. Right, in all good bookstores. Mephisto in Onyx, $16 is the trade edition, and the limited is $65. The cover was done by Frank Miller, one of the great modern...
I know who Frank Miller is.
You know who Frank Miller is.
I read all of Frank Miller's stuff.
That's terrific. And you know, of course, who Giordano Bruno is, and Igor... You heard the name. Burn for his beliefs. Big mouth, just like me. Wouldn't recant like Galileo. Tony,
I've heard of Galileo too.
it's been a little slice of heaven, and I'd like to thank you for
talking with us.
Listen, no, thank you for talking to us. We hope you'll come back real soon on the show. You've been a wonderful contestant, and we're going to... Don't forget to pick up your box of rice-a-roni, the San Francisco treat.
Have you called Bill Cole Enterprises yet? Have you? You have not? Well, you better call them, because they make Mylar Snugs and...
Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Hulk Counter Hulk, the show that addresses both sides of the issue. As always, my guests are the Smart Hulk and the original Hulk. Now, the Smart Hulk. What is your opinion on the right to die issue?
I don't know. Ask him.
Original Hulk?
Hulk not care. You talk.
What's wrong? What's going on? I don't understand. What's wrong?
They're renewing their contracts, and they refuse to talk until they get their money.
Gentlemen, surely you must have an opinion about the Bill Clinton administration. Homelessness? Unemployment? Come on, you idiots. If you don't argue, we don't have a show. We don't have a show.
Hulk what? Residuals.
Residuals! Only makes you rich. You make me angry. I get stronger.
Dear God, run!
He's crazy! Newman angry! Newman out of time. Join next week. Hulk Counter Hulk.
For transcript of Hulk Counter Hulk, send $3 to TCBS Transcript, P.O. Box 10035, Philadelphia, PA 19108.
Today's lucky letter comes from Jared Fantasia, 9.5. My question is, who was the first comic book character? I hope you pick my letter and let me know what your first comic looks like. Good luck on your TV show. Well, we don't grade you on penmanship, Jared, but it's a good question. The official first character, comic book character, officially is usually considered the Yellow Kid. The Yellow Kid was a strip, and it was put together. The first comic books were really just collections of strips, and you would buy the whole book, and you would see all the stuff that had been printed in the paper. If you read Understanding Comics, which is a new book by Scott McCloud, he traces the origins of comics back all the way to the ancient Egyptians, 3000 BC. So I really can't give you a definitive answer, but I can give you some free comic books. What does he win?
Jared wins a copy of Extreme Number 0, a copy of the Defiant Genesis, and 3 signed issues of Mortarman.
Cool. If you would like to win something cool, send your letter to TCBS Letters, P.O. Box 10035, Philadelphia, PA 19108. Send us a letter and we'll send you something for free.
This Christmas, shop at Golden Hobbies on Ariel Road in Pine Hill. Register for arts and crafts classes and learn how to make these decorative gifts. Check out our great savings on Christmas gifts, models, hobby accessories, rockets, and radio-controlled cars.
Before, I was only a customer at the Golden Apple, and Bill, who owns the Golden Apple, was basically the one who got me into comics.
And what sort of titles do you read?
Love and Rockets. I've read The Crow. It's a great book. My daughter loves The Crow. And, I mean, the Golden Apple isn't just comic books. It's pop culture, memorabilia, model kits.
Do you collect any of that as well?
Not really. Not now. No.
Who would be your favorite superhero or favorite maybe artist?
My favorite artist, Steve Rude, who did my cover. I think he's incredible.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
And now it's a TCBS news break. Cry for Dawn has splintered into two new companies. Joe Monk's co-founder and writer for Cry for Dawn has come up with a new company called Creative Force Design and Production. The imprint of its first line will be called Visual Anarchy, set for February. The title of its first book will be Night Cry, mentioned on show number 7. Chaos Comics' Brian Polito and Stephen Hughes will join Everett Hartsoe, Louis Small Jr., and Hannibal King, and James O'Barr, and others in the project. Audio Anarchy, the other imprint, will be releasing a concept disc by a local East Coast band. Rob Horan, Cry for Dawn's former promotions director and writer for Safety Belt Man has joined documentary producer Larry Salamone to create Serious Comics. Joe Linsner, Cry for Dawn's co-founder, will be freelancing on Drama, Dawn's one-shot color book. Greg Dark One Williams will be continuing with Animal Mystic and contribute on a regular Safety Belt Man series. And Louis Small Jr. will be working on Tombstone Girls with a trading card set and videotapes to follow. And that concludes today's TCBS News Break. The news when it happens, when it breaks. Hey, get your contest entries in for the big comic book show contest. Here's how it works. You promote the show, the comic book show, in the most creative way, and then you put it on videotape, and we send you a prize.
And we have tons of great stuff to give away.
Oh, it's piling up. So please, send us your contest entries. Send them to This Is Not the Valiant Contest, P.O. Box 10035, Philadelphia, PA 19108. And that's it this week on the Comic Book Show. Tune in next week. We're going to have more movies, more comics, and what else?
The Lucky Letter, Stuff Times 50, comic books like you've never seen them before.
Interviews, celebrity guests, the whole 9 yards. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Enterprises is the exclusive supplier of comic book preservation supplies to the Comic Book Show. Ask for their products by name. And remember, when you go to your local comic store, say you saw it on the Comic Book Show.